Jeff, we're going to move on. We're going to do some betting 101. Are you excited?
Absolutely. Let's talk parlays.
All right. So as we discussed earlier in last week's pod, we're going to do this segment a little bit. We're going to keep it kind of short and sweet, but we want everybody to understand, if you're listening and you're not an avid gambler, what we're talking about. So we bring up parlays a lot, parlays in sports gambling. It's a very simple concept. You're taking multiple teams, starting at 2 teams and run it out as far as you want to go. And when you're doing it, you're expecting both teams to win. So if you're, the Yankees and the Rays are, Yankees are playing the Red Sox, Rays are playing the Blue Jays, and you think the Yankees and the Rays are going to win, and you want to put in a 2-team parlay because you want to increase the value of your bet, increase the odds. So on a $10 bet, you're going to get paid 13-5 on a $2 bet versus 2 $10 bets, where if you win one, lose one, you would lose a little bit of what's called juice, right? So you're going to lose $10 in that situation. Or you can combine the two, and if you win them both, instead of winning $20 on 2 individual $10 plays, you're going to win on your 13-5 odds. So you're going to win $65. Okay. So when we extrapolate that out and say it's a 3-team, right? So insert a 3-team there, or 3rd team there. And let's use basketball. Let's just say we got the Celtics, we've got the Cavs, and we've got the Nuggets. All right. So 3 teams on a $10 bet, that's going to pay you 6-1. So when you're looking at 6-1, what does that mean? If you're not familiar with the terminology, you have a $10 bet, you hit all 3 of those plays. You're going to take your $10 and multiply it by 6. So you're going to win $60. All right. Jeff, anything to add there?
Yeah. So to be clear, let's use the 3-team example that Ash just mentioned. This is one bet, right? But you're betting 3 games. So you have to win all 3 games to win the bet.
Correct.
That's why the odds are as high as they are. Ash just talked about 6-1. The reason why they're 6-1 is it's harder to win 3 games in a single bet than it is obviously to win 1 game in a single bet. So these types of bets are very popular. The good news about them is, you could sort of just be a novice type bettor and throw $5 or $10 on a 3 or 4 team parlay, and you could get a pretty decent payout, and people like the action with those types of bets. Of course, you'll see people make large bets too and try to win hundreds of thousands of dollars on these types of bets. But parlays are usually people messing around with low bets and just hoping to get lucky and, win a 10-1 or a 21 type bet. So,
yeah, I think for the most part, especially, if you're talking Vegas, if you're talking, bookies, $50, $100, $200, $500 parlays, they've been around a long time. But those are typically 2-team, 3-team parlays.
Mm-hmm.
As you go up, again, the graphics down, but for those listening, a 3-team is going to pay 6-1, 4 teams going to pay 10-1, 5 teams going to pay 20-1, 6 teams going to pay 40-1, 7 teams going to pay 75-1, 8 teams going to pay 150-1. So you can just see how it keeps compounding as you go. Obviously, it is increasingly difficult to win an 18 parlay, a 19 parlay, 10-team parlay. So you don't see a lot of people throwing big money at it. Since the introduction to, like, we're here in Florida, Hard Rock Bets, if we're talking to somebody there, I would guarantee that parlays are the number 1 bets, because it allows people to take, $2, $3, $5,
small risk. Yeah.
Right. The parlay card you used to get in the office for football season, things like that. Hey, I'll bet every game, and it's $5. And as a fact, Jeff, I think you sent me a tweet the other day that somebody, what was 20-something thousand?
I think it was a $1 bet.
On a $1 bet.
Every baseball game, right? Is that what they did? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's there. Just so there's some clarity too, these are like fixed odds bets. And what I mean by that is, again, when you place a wager, typically you're going to see, if you're taking a point spread, insert team here +5, that's going to be accompanied by a -110 spread. And what that means is that's the juice. So for every $100, you're paying 110 to win 100. The casinos are basically looking to middle out, right? They want equal action on both sides of those bets. That 10-cent juice, as it's called, is where they actually make their money, right? So 50% of the people take one side, 50% take another side. Everybody that's $100. The losing side pays that extra 10 cents. That begins to add up into astronomical amounts of money. When you do a parlay with a money line, right? So baseball, or if you're picking underdogs or favorites for that matter, it actually increases the odds. So an example would be if I'm doing a $10 3-team parlay, right? Again, 6-1 is the odds of a normal parlay. But if I use bet number 1, they're plus 200. Bet number 2, they're minus 120. And bet number 3, they're plus 130. That's actually going to take my odds from 6-1 to plus 1165. Okay. So instead of 6-1 on my money, I'm a little over 11-1 coming up on 12-1.
Right. And let's just to stop for a second. So what you're saying there is if you throw a couple underdogs in your parlay, you're going to get better odds, right? Bigger payouts. So,
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So again, we're calling this segment 101 because we could talk about this. We actually, hey, quick insight here. Maybe we just have a podcast betting 101.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we should.
So yeah, we really should. Something to think about. Producer Tyler, write that down. We'll revisit it. So, but noted. In all seriousness, we don't want to get too deep in it, but we're going to keep doing these segments. So eventually we'll get around to everything and where all these odds, where it plays out, how it makes sense for you. And if we can help you approach things in a different way, great. Parlays are fun. They're not probable, right? I will say most sharps will tell you, especially during football season.
What's a sharp, Jay?
Sharp is either a professional gambler or somebody who bets an awful lot of money on a regular basis and typically wins.
Right. And to be clear, it's not a shark, a sharp. So
sharp.
People get those confused all the time.
Sharp better. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just is my mic on? Hope I'm enunciating correctly. So what I mean by that is, if you like 3 teams, you should like them equally, and we'll get into unit betting, things along those lines. But if you're going to bet, and let's use that low number, $10, if you want to bet at a 6-1 that you have to win all 3 games, if you win 2 out of 3 on a parlay, you're going to lose money. Whereas if you bet those individually, $10 a piece, you'd win 20, lose 10 or 12, depending on your juice, you would actually net a profit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we'll get into that type of stuff as we continue with the pod, as our listeners continue to grow by the droves.
It's so crazy
information for you.
And it's so crazy too, because like we're talking about it right in 101 and we got to keep it simple. Right. But like now parlays are different, right? Because you can take 2 games that happen tomorrow and then 2 games or 1 game that happens Sunday. If your 2 games hit, you may get a cash out offer from one of these sports books. This is a new thing that's like, 2-3 years old, where these cash out offers are coming into play because the casinos are getting smart, right? Or I guess they've always been smart, but you know what I mean? It's a different aspect to it.
It's the access. It's the mobile access.
Right.
It's enticing new gamblers. And this goes all the way in. Listen, again, a whole nother podcast segment of before legalized sports gambling in every state, and when it was just in Las Vegas, and there was these things called bookies, right?
Yeah.
And then overseas accounts, et cetera.